Hello. Well, today I'm going to do a quick video, partially prepared because I'm not planning on making this a long video because I don't have that much free time. I I'm gonna. I guess I decided to share a little bit more about my past, just so I guess to get from a point of reference as far as where I'm coming from. Why do I have? I don't know if you want to call it the preferences that I have, the biases that I have, or the blind spots that I might have, that kind of thing. So let's see, where do I begin? So, well, one thing that I came to learn is that we're all a product of our past, whether we know it or not, whether we are aware of not. So, I I didn't have a rough childhood. I did end up, I guess, to summarize, I guess I did come from a broken home, and has that affected me as an adult? Um, so before I say that, I will bring one of the things that I've learned later in my life about an interesting concept, and this one is, how do they train circus elephants? So the trainers, they train the elephants, they train them um, as far as to be guided by this flimsy rope when they're babies, when they're little, and when they're not that powerful, when they're not that strong. And the trainers, they use this rope for a reason, and they do this at the age for a reason. And that baby elephant pulls and tugs and gives it its all to try to break free from this rope, this thing that's keeping it from doing its thing and going where it wants to go and all that good stuff. And it fights and fights until it cannot fight no more, until it gets exhausted, and until the baby elephant figures that it is useless to pull against this flimsy rope because it's just not strong enough. The thing that blew my mind when I first heard it is that when the elephant gets big, it still gets pulled around by its trainer with the same flimsy rope. The elephant doesn't realize that it can now break that rope. It can just give it an easy tug because elephants are strong. They're powerful. They're more powerful than the trainers themselves and more stronger than that flimsy rope. But the reason why they do not break free, or they don't, let me back up. The reason why they don't even attempt to break free is because they have this idea fixed in their mind that it is an impossibility to break free from this rope, this, you know. And so they don't try to break free. They're stuck. And if they only knew that that's not true, they're not the same person as that baby elephant. They're now stronger. As a matter of fact, if they actually tried to pull away, they would break away free. But that was such a, I don't know if you want to call it PTSD, or such a memorable, that experience seared it into their mind, and so that's the reality. But that's something that I learned, and it stuck with me. Not that things stick in my mind. If you know me, you'll know. Yeah, I forget a lot of things. I read some books, and the more I read, the more I forget the previous books I read. Bummer. But anyways, yeah, we can unlearn all the stuff that we learned. Well, at least we should unlearn all the bad stuff, right? That flimsy rope that's holding us back. Should we break free from it? And so, yeah, so I come from a broken home. I have a ton. Well, I'm gonna be optimistic and say that I've broken away from some of those unhealthy coping skills or habits that I used to have. They used to do me a lot of harm, self-harm, because that's all I knew. I was being pulled by this flimsy rope to and fro. That's how I went. But anyways, I prepared a quick slideshow, and it's going to be quick because I don't have that much free time. So let me transition this to this one here. So, how did I end up in the middle of the woods? And am I out of the woods yet? I don't know if everybody asks themselves that question. Maybe everybody has one of those days where they just hit rock bottom, or maybe you're just tired of falling flat on your face time and again, many a times. That was me. So I guess before I get there, maybe I should mention how I got there in the first place. So who am I? When we are young, we have to learn how to talk and walk. That's an obvious, right? So we learn from our environment. Whatever our parents teach us, directly or indirectly, that's what we learn. And so, what does that mean to someone, say a toddler, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, when they, when it's a broken home? I don't like to share about my personal life, and not that many people know my personal life, but I'm going to share a little bit. So my mom started to show a little bit of paranoid delusions early on when I was a kid. But it was just little hints here and there. But the good news is that when she was with it, and she cared for us deeply. I'm one of 4 boys, and I know that she loves us very much. So that was good. But I think when I was 7, no, maybe 9-ish, my dad, how can I summarize, because I don't have that much time. So my dad had a drinking problem, but it wasn't too pronounced. And when he would get drunk, he would beat us. If we, misbehaved the slightest, he would just, I guess, hit us too hard, with the belt or whatever he can find. Because he was drunk, I guess, it is what it is. But he would also beat up my mom like a man, not a slap, but like with fists. So my aunt, my dad's sister, was from the States. She would come over to visit every year, but she noticed the changes far easier, more clearly than us. And that one year when she came over to visit, my mom had fled with me and my younger brother to my other aunt's house, which is my dad's sister-in-law. I guess, yeah, anyway, something like that. Because my dad was so drunk and he was trying to get a hold of my mom, and my mom was locked herself in our room, me and my younger brother's room, and he was trying to get to her. So he got the machete and was trying to break the door down to get to her, but fortunately he was too drunk to pull it off. We ran away, got shelter from one of my aunts, and then my other aunt was visiting, so she's like, what the heck? Every year my brother gets worse, and I'm afraid that next year I'm not gonna be visiting. I'm gonna be attending your funeral. So that's how we ended up in the States, and that's how we ended up. That was the beginning of the world that I knew, right? Because I ended up in a different country, not knowing the language. I'm gonna fast forward because I'm limited with time. So 6 months out, my dad comes over with my other 2 older brothers to reunite the family. Wants to make amends, wants to set everything right, is going to give up drinking, at least for the most part. So my mom says, all right, sure. So she moves out of my aunt's. We move out together as a family. And so far, so good. I think they stayed together for about 6 months. And, now that I'm an adult and now that I've been married, me and my wife, we've been a couple for over 20. Let me see, we met in 2000-ish, 2001. I think by 2001 we were already a couple. So, a little bit over 2 decades. So I know what it's like to be married. I know it's not. Marriage is work. So in hindsight, they try to go about it. As 2 adults, 6 months out, my dad, they were into an argument, and my dad struck her in public. got arrested because, here in the States, it's against the law to do that. Back in Mexico, he did have a few titles that kept him from getting in trouble. One of those, he was an attorney, and second, he worked for the police department in that local town. I don't know what role he had there, but because he had an education, I don't think I don't know, he had some sway, so he never got in trouble for what he did, but he left it all to keep his family. And 6 months out after the fact, he got arrested and didn't like that, so he went his separate way, and that's when my mom was there with 4 boys on her own, trying to make do. So, long story short, it ended up going south. I don't know, within less than a year. The stress, all that stuff was just a little too much for my mom to bear, and it broke her. She was susceptible to it, I think. And well, we were living in Fresno at the time, Fresno, California, and yeah, my older brother's working into trouble. I got into trouble myself. My dad heard about it. My mom I think by then she had lost her job because she had a mental crisis. She just broke down. So we ended up moving again. We went to a different state. But anyways, I want to make this long story short. So yes, I ended up, as a young kid, teenager, having some difficulty coping. By then, so my dad was no longer in the picture, wasn't really contributing financially. We were struggling financially, to say the least. And I remember many a times where I was trying to do my homework because I thought that maybe, getting a better, I wasn't old enough to work yet, but I was thinking that whenever I could get a job, I would get a job and flee. At that time, I'm trying to do my homework many times. That's what I remember. I'm trying to forget. And my mom having delusional, paranoid, just tangential rants nonstop. I would start with, we were in the living room, then going to the rooms to try to get some peace and quiet to do homework, but no. She would follow suit, and eventually I would just leave many a times. But anyways, I wasn't ready. I did not learn healthy coping skills, I guess. And long story short, fast forward a few years, when I was 18 and I graduated, I did flee. I wasn't prepared. Fast forward a few years. Well, when my aunts and uncles, we would get together, I moved away. I did move away, by the way. And I, away from family, did not have a good support system, I guess. I was not prepared, didn't have two coping skills. So, yes, I crashed and burned many times. And when we would get together in the summer, when my family would come over, I remember the greeting that my brothers would get. Oh, how have you been? This and that. The greeting for me was... sorry, one of the cats making noise. Anyways, one of the greetings for me was like, Alex, I just want you to know that we're praying for you. So, to summarize, that was their greeting. They were praying for me. So yeah, I was in need of prayer, to say the least. And I was trying to run away from God. Yes, that's a fact. I was trying to get away from it. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. So I'm going to fast forward, maybe move to the next slide. So anyways, how does that affect me now that I'm an adult? So I already have gray hair, right? I was trying to flee away from God, trying to run away, trying to do things my way. It didn't work. So I had to grow up. My dad did pass away when I was in my early 20s. Because I did end up actually staying with them because I ended up being homeless a few times because, I fell flat on my face many times and I had to reach out and, why not? I was still resentful for all that I experienced, blamed everything on my parents, as if they were supposed to be perfect, and blamed everything. Anyways, I was a mess. I was not grateful at all. Not even when my dad was helping me. So, anyways, but when I did when I did yield, because I did the philosophy for a while, I was still falling flat on my face. And then I did stumble into Buddhism. That did help for a time, but I would still fall flat on my face. But eventually, Christianity, that was so different than anything else. That was, in my opinion, in my experience, that was the life-changing event when I yielded to Christ, to Christianity. But one thing is to yield and to submit, but I didn't really understand what it is to be a Christian. I'm still trying to figure out what it is to be a Christian, what it is to follow the path, the way, right? And so I did ask to, anybody that's Christian would know that the advice that Jesus gives is to seek, to ask, right? Keep on seeking, keep on asking, knock, and the door will open. So I did ask God to show me what I needed to see, because even though I was Christian for some time, I was still struggling. And oh boy, did He show me. So anyways, long story short, I have been working in a psychiatric hospital. It's a lockdown unit for it's 6 years now. The month of June is my 6-year anniversary. Other people in the TLC have asked me what kind of role I play there. I've been a registered nurse for a little bit over 11 years. But anyways, one of the things that I've come to realize, even though we're so different, we're so similar in so many different ways. And some of the things that we learned when we were kids, it affects us. That's why I wanted to bring that, what I learned about the baby elephant, the circus elephant, that where being an adult elephant and being so powerful gets led by this flimsy boat, by the trainer, and it doesn't know that it can break free at any time. So anyways, I did find some similarities with people in those places that were in a crisis mode, and myself, right? As a Christian, I'm still broken. I still need to grow. I still need to learn. I'm figuring things out myself. And when they would ask advice, I wouldn't want to give the best advice I could. So I needed to learn. And nobody told me to read the books that I read, the textbooks, the manuals, DBT, CBT, all that stuff, learning about personality disorders and what it means to be. Because even if you don't have a personality disorder, you might have some traits. And how many personality disorders there are? There's several. And even if you don't have the disorders, you might have some traits. And even if you, like I said, and then, as far as studying the oceans, the big factor 5 of personality. So even if you don't have a disorder, you might have some of those where you're, to the extreme. And if you're at an extreme, it will affect you some way, shape, or form. But anyways, I did say I was going to make it short. I have to summarize, extreme summarization here, condensed mode here, because I am limited in time. So let me get back on track. So what I've learned is faulty expectations. So what is reality? Sometimes, like again, we're being led by this flimsy road because we don't have a quite perception of what is real yet. And we have some, well, at least I still have some faulty expectations. I'm still trying to work it out. As far as, I shouldn't have these overwhelming, uncomfortable emotions. If I don't have no emotions, I'm either an object, a thing like a chair, or I'm dead, or a robot. So I whether I like these emotions, this emotional turmoil or not, alas, I have to deal with these emotions because I cannot get rid of them. Often enough, I would cope the wrong way, end up being drunk to not feel, and that would create more problems. So there you go. So how to deal with anxiety instead of hoping not to feel anxiety. Emotions, right? As far as anger, sadness, all those extremes. How to manage those instead of them overpowering you, pulling you like that flimsy rope, right? But we can break free if we know how. If we even think it is possible to break away. poor reality testing. Oh boy, I have some experience. My mom still suffering with that poor reality testing. She still has some. We have, she still doesn't want treatment. It's it's hard for me to talk about my childhood and to talk about all that stuff that I experienced because it does hurt more with someone. So yeah, poor reality testing. What is reality? And in today's world, oh boy, the pendulum has been swinging to and fro, and we've been tossing away some of the old beliefs, and we're coming around to saying, whoa, 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 whoa. We threw reality with the bathwater. Let's hold our horses, right? These new atheists from like 10 years ago saying God is dead and we are here to tell you what is the best way to live our life without God. Who needs those old fuddy-duddy ideas that we created? So yeah, as a Christian especially, let's not throw Christ with the bathwater. The pseudo-Christians, yeah, let's test that. Am I a pseudo-Christian or am I the real deal, right? At least I had to ask myself that more than once. Some people, I guess they feel jaded and they're like, yeah, those people that call themselves Christians, they're worse than me. So why should I become a Christian when they're worse than me, right? They got a point, in my opinion. So maybe I'm ready for this next slide. So our childhood, does that affect us as adults? And what is reality? It depends on who you ask and depends on the philosophers. These awesome, there's so many philosophers, right? Foucault, Deleuze, Aristotle, St. Augustine, right? Name the philosopher. Everybody had their different points of view, their different ideas, and everybody contradicted each other. They were all smart, yes, but they all disagreed in one way, shape, or form. They all had their reality, form of reality, and they're still telling us what is reality, what is truth, and what is the ultimate truth. And everybody's right and everybody's wrong according to them, right? But, right, we're gonna let somebody that has disagreed with other people say, hey, I'm the one that knows it all. I'm the one that you should listen to. I'm going to summarize, but I have to mention this. There's such a thing as cults. And the big ones, at least some cults have made it in the news, like Heaven's Gate. That was I experienced that myself. I've seen it on CNN when people used to watch CNN. Drinking the Kool-Aid, remember that? That was a real thing, by the way. It's not just a saying for you young bucks. I'm sure there's plenty of memes that have that. They drank the Kool-Aid. Because, cults, the mind manipulation, that is a real thing. But I have to summarize. There's so many ideas, so many things, so many ways to go into, to break down, to talk about, but those are some of my experiences. Because remember, some things I am biased of, some things I omit, some things I cling to. Everybody has some sort of tunnel vision on preferences. But anyway, some of the things that I learned because I now have a different preference, and some of the things that I used to ignore, I don't ignore so much. I did read some books when I was younger, few, and then much more when I was older, and I wasn't really fond of non-fiction books, but boy oh boy, and I've more, the last 5 years, I think I used to say read, now I say read. No, here, because, I discovered the Audible app, so I listened to some of the very good books, non-fiction books. And anyways, there's a lot of things that you may have come across once or twice, or maybe you heard somebody, or you will stumble. in the future, if you're like me, if you begin to grow, begin to learn from other people, because I learned that I'm stuck with only the knowledge that I've been given or that I learned. If I have to learn something different, like a new language, it has to come from outside myself, right? If I want to learn Portuguese or Russian, I cannot do that. Just, if I'm stuck in an island, I'm like, okay, today I'm going to learn Korean. So there we are. No, even though I have all the time in the world and I don't have anybody or a textbook or some way, shape, or form that I can learn from, I'm stuck. I'm limited to only to what I know. So anyway, some of the things that I stumbled upon and I learned, the Milgram shock experiment. Wow. And what that teaches, as groupthink, as society, as mass, as individuals, whatever you want to call it, however everybody has a different point of view as far as how that affects us, what that says about us, this human experience. Anyways, that people can do something just because a professor or the person leading the survey or the prison guard has the role when they say, these are the rules, or when the Stanford prison experiment, right, when the person doing the survey says, hey, yeah, shock that person again, give them some more, let's increase the voltage, and oh yeah, this is lethal now, but yeah, do so because it's the experiment. And so yeah, some people did it. Well, there was an actor. It was an experiment. It wasn't the real deal. But they would have killed the person had it been for reals. And the last one here, anyways, maybe I should have put a disclaimer. All this stuff, do not look into it. If you have a soft stomach, if you're vulnerable, seek a counselor. I am a big fan of therapy. Mental health is real. Schizophrenia is real. In my opinion, Christ is real. And that's my opinion for you out there that disagree. But anyways, this thing about the orphanage from the Romanian conflict, about being underfunded and just too many orphans, not enough money to care, not enough people helping at these orphanages, and the effects on the psyche of the person, of that kid. And no wonder so much happens when a kid experiences neglect. Again, these are things that, man, oh man, when you see it, when you feel it, it can break you really in more ways than one. And you do need, in my opinion, help from the outside. You need a good therapist, in my opinion. In nursing, we're not supposed to neglect the spiritual portion. So when somebody says, hey, my religion and my tradition, my cultural beliefs, I want this or that, including prayer. Yes, we do have that available, and we will have people come over, and this clergy will come in, or whatever they want. We have to accommodate. We do take that seriously. We do not neglect those kind of things. My body and soul, whatever that means to some people, right? But anyways, so some experiments that I came across and what they mean to the human condition. Every century has these catastrophic things. War is never fun. People conquering back. I'm Hispanic, so there you go. The Aztecs were powerful, but they were conquering. So, when they were getting land, when they were getting more powerful, it was the little tribe that suffered, right? Right, rape, all that stuff. It's in every history. The powerful do what the powerful do because they can, because they have more manpower, more weapons, you name it. What's that saying? If you want an omelet, you gotta break eggs. Well, there's a lot of people making a lot of omelets. We're modern, we're super sophisticated, so now the way the influence, the power is different. Some people say corporations are way too powerful. Nonetheless, we still have wars. So communism They say, well, that's not a corporation, but those people were powerful. If you don't think Stalin was powerful, if you don't think he did some crazy stuff, if you don't think rape or just some unthinkable things to people that were not even considered people, if you don't think those things happened just because it wasn't a capitalistic form of power, well, maybe what we need is less science fiction, less Netflix, and a little bit more study if you're ready, if you're prepared. Not everybody's ready. For a little bit more history, every century has all those tragic, unfortunate things from the powerful. Even if it is a tribe, all the Apaches, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Toltecs, you name it, right? The British are coming, right? The Redcoats, you name it, every century. Even I'm a Catholic. I'm baptized. My new, right, because I did the whole catechism thing. My saintly name that I adopted was Saint George. For those that know me, well, very few people know me that close, but yes, they will know why I chose that name, Saint George. But anyways, I had to study that Catholic history, and oh man, I think I would want to have these conversations, but with internally, right? With maybe a current or formal Catholic about these things, about, the powerful, even within the church, right? What's that word? I should write these things down. It'll come to me. Give it a minute. I should have written it down. Did I have it around? Let me check my notes here. Inquisition, the torture devices, the powerful. I mean, even to the point where Mass is given in Latin and somebody catches you, and like say in Germany, because I think the Protestant movement started with Martin Luther and some people, or Anglican movement, right, with the King James Bible, people reading it in their own language, and we get caught with the Bible that you can actually read, or you're going to get tortured if you don't confess, if you don't repent. Anyways, those are the things, again, internally from a Catholic to another Catholic. How does that history? But then again, I'm thinking more, this is more the pseudo-Christian, right? Let's not throw Christ or Christianity out with the bathwater, right? Let's not make our determinations with the pseudo-Christian, right? At least in my opinion. So let's at least keep that in mind. So, for what it's worth, let's call a spade, right? If it talks like a duck, sounds like a duck, has feathers like a duck, it might be a duck. It may not be a Christian. I'm just saying, in my opinion, who the heck am I, right? I'm just another one of many, 8 billion people. I'm just this dude with the funny accent, right? So, yes, what is truth? What is reality? Am I ready for the next slide? Yes. Some people, they say that some people don't change until they hit rock bottom. And some point in time, I've experienced this thing called, I don't know if you read it or if you heard it or some way, shape, or form. This is how I'm gonna describe it. It's kind of like the story of the gift of the mysterious key. You are given this mysterious key because it happens so quick. It just happens so suddenly. This person has to go. There's no time here. Keep it safe. You're going to need it. And then something happens, and that's that. You don't get instructions. It just happens, and you have this mysterious key. So very important. You're going to need it. It's going to save your life. It has the potential to save your life. It's so important. And then when the dust settles and you're in a different point, in a different life, in a different town, maybe speaking a different language, whatever the heck, the story is told so many different ways, but there you are, and you have this burden of this key that you're like, I don't want to lose it. I know I trust this person with my life. I know this is important. But I have this burden that I have to carry it everywhere, right? It's like I don't want to leave it. I don't want to store it and when I need it, and it's locked away in some kind of storage bin or whatever. I'm visiting or I'm whatever. I've had so many ups and downs that, trust me, you lose so many things that, yes, you know what I mean? This mysterious key is so important and it becomes a burden to carry it always. It's kind of like, did you ever do that, with the phone, since everybody's so attached to their phones, where you left because you were in such a hurry, something happened and you're like, my phone, oh no. And that day was just not the same because, we're so attached to our phones, right? When I was a teenager, we did not have the internet. We did not have Google. We did not have our smartphones. We could not, times were different. But anyways, the burden of this mysterious key. But then, I'm running out of time, so let me shorten it up here. There comes a time where this thing happens where this powerful person that wants more power comes through the village, starts breaking down doors, storms into your door, kills your parent, takes you hostage, beats you up. You wake up unconscious. You have this handcuff. Everybody's messed up. All kinds of craziness. You're starting to smell fire. You're like, what the heck? Everything's chaos and misery, and you can hear the wailing. Oh man, those sobs. It'll torment you forever. Hearing those voices. And you realize this is it. But then you're like, wait a minute. What are the chances? So you dig into your pants, because, at least you have access to your, because, they tied you, the handcuffs are in the front, because, who the heck is going to have a key to this? But anyways, you're in a sudden rush because you're already smelling the smoke. It's already chaos, and this anxiety's, anyways, everything's happening so fast. You stumble through your pockets. There's a key. What are the chances? And it works. Break free. Everybody, you start saving as many people. You gotta flee. You gotta run. You have no time to figure out what the heck just happened. But this burden that you've been carrying around for so long, all of a sudden is a gift. It's been a burden for so long, and now it's a gift. But anyways, this mysterious gift is different for everybody. Everybody has a different story. This story has been told in different ways, but that's just how that's just my, yes, this mysterious key. So, I just got a phone call. I might have to get going here soon. So, but some of the things that I learned is, yes, when it comes to paranoia, reality testing, all this stuff, learning from books, and there's a few books out there, how the cult leader, the tactics, all this stuff, all these, because remember, I have to be careful the books that I read, make sure that they're peer-reviewed, because when I give advice, I don't want to give the wrong advice. But anyways, I'm going to try to summarize, because, sorry, I do have to get going. There is such thing as the con man. There's a book, man, I wish I could pull it up. Yeah, famous cons. Anyways, when I was trying to see if there's, anyways, this is a psychologist, so I'm like, yeah, this is kind of truthful. But anyways, I did research because it was so far-fetched. This con man sold the Eiffel Tower, the one in Paris, twice before he got arrested. I'm like, no way. Nope, yeah, that's true. Famous cons in my lifetime. few that come to mind. Maybe it's yours, depending on your age. Bernie Madoff. That was a huge thing. It did cause a lot of turmoil. Elizabeth Holmes recently, right, with that, and people lost billions, companies or individuals, in total. And then the last one, I should have wrote these things down. Sorry, I thought I was gonna have another thing where but I'm out of time. Sam Bankman-Fried, I think this is his name, with the crypto billions, after effects, right? Yes, the con man is real. Those are big, huge. There's much smaller cons, everyday cons. There's a lot of people that are susceptible. So yes, reality testing. How vulnerable are we? Right. Yes, there. Anyways, there is such things. So there's, I did mention a few things. It's kind of like I did summarize extremely as far as the OCEAN acronym, the big five factor, as far as the extremes: openness, agreeableness, conscientiousness, all that stuff. The con man, Machiavellian, all those people that they do what they do, and in such a strategic way, right? How do you? But anyways, so to keep the OCEAN acronym, too much of anything is problematic. Too optimistic, you don't prepare properly, right? It's not good. Too pessimistic, you'll never trust anybody. You won't have healthy relationships. You won't. Anyways, any extreme is not preferred. Some depending on where you're at, some might even help in careers, all that stuff. But anyways, and then we have the personality traits, and again, some of these is because of things that happen, and most of these result of when they were kids and they were neglected or abused, a combination. There's so many things, and sometimes it's just mere luck, right? And some of the things that are not here because it's no longer in the big the DSM-5, the psychopath, that's no longer there. But sometimes it's the luck of the draw, and there's so few. But yet sometimes it's not. Nobody even knows why of the psychopath. But they're so rare. So this is just the regular folks that we want to. We're, as far as reality testing for the everyday folk. Now, personality disorders. Even if someone doesn't have a personality disorders, they might have some traits. So for me, just learning about the traits in itself and what they mean, and just like even some of that, interesting to know what that is, because I'm telling you, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, because I still have my biases, my blind spots, my preferences, my, yes, I'm still learning. Right, that elephant being led by that flimsy rope. Sometimes you break away, but you realize there's another rope that's a little bit stronger, but then it gives. And then there are some chains, and there's other stuff, and sometimes you find this mysterious key, and you're like, holy moly! And then sometimes it's not a physical key; it's a spiritual key, and on it goes. But anyways, I wish I can. Go into it a little bit further. I wish I can give more specifics. I'm sorry that I'm still guarded, that I don't share so much of my childhood and all that kind of stuff, because some of that stuff still hurts. Some of the stuff that I did, I do regrets. It does have some shame, and it's it's still difficult for me. So I do apologize, and I'm sorry. Because, I can't do anything about the past. As much as it hurts, whether the hurt that was inflicted on me or the hurt that I inflict on others, as I try to cope, not the best of ways. I'm not, it hurts. So I just can't, I'm not ready yet to disclose all that. But, yeah. Maybe this is where I'm going to end the year, but yes, power and influence. I stumbled onto the TLC a few months back. I had been following Grail Country for some time. Years back, I'd been following PVK years back as well, not realizing even on not just on YouTube but also on the podcast, Apple Podcast, because I do have some of that. Didn't realize how much, you know, how grateful I am for even this new way of doing things at TLC. Wow, it's quite unique, and anyways, it's grown on me so much, and I didn't realize how much it will grow on me. But anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Anyways, question, comments. I don't know. I don't have that many people that follow me. This is such a new channel, and again, the reason why I'm putting things up is because of TLC. Because I want to contribute instead of just, as I grow, I do realize, because I have, my points of view have changed. Once I got married, I saw things differently. Once my dad passed away, I saw things differently. Once I began to be a parent, I saw things differently. One thing leads to another. Once I think when my kid was towards 2-ish, when really we were going to start teaching my kid things, to realize, even though I thought I was doing the right thing, right? Remember, Catholic, I was going to church as often as I could. I was doing the things that I could, so I thought I was doing what I thought should, the proper things, but I didn't really know the Bible all that much. So that's on me for not reading the Bible, right? Anyways, questions or concerns, comments, whatever, for the one or two that might stumble onto this, what do you call it, YouTube video, if the algorithm recommends it or not, whatever, because like I said, this is such a new channel. Well, it's about a few years old, but I haven't put anything up sometime. So anyways, yeah. Anyways, I know the handle is De Soul a Soul Spanish. I like that because it's, reminds me of my grandparent, my dad. The family, they were farmers. That's how he ended up going to school, because he didn't want to be a farmer. My grandpa was so sad against it that he ended up being disowned. He says, yeah, you want to do that? You're not. Yeah, he decided to do that against the odds, against my grandpa's wishes. But anyways, a farming thing, and especially, remember, grandparents, that was before, go back a few centuries, we don't even have electricity, so, or modern technology, right? So anyways, work while there's still daylight. So the handle, De Soul a Soul, from sunset to sundown, daylight to daylight, or whatever you want. Some things are lost in translation. But anyways, Alex, for you all that don't know me, hello, how are ya? Say hello, drop a comment, or even give it a thumbs down if you dislike some of this stuff. I know it's kind of vague and summarized, but I am out of time. I will post some more later. I don't know. I'm a busy person. I wish I can get some more free time. And there's some shout outs to Grail Country, Luke, Lance, and Christian Baxter, right? Because he was one of the reasons why I started contributing. Him and Pete from Strange Theology, Grim Grizz, all them, part of the TLC, and all, everybody else in there, Jeremy, that they contributed, who I'm beginning to know more of through watching their content. I do have limited. I will know more about you guys the more I have, the more free time I have. I do want to get to know you via the stuff that you guys have posted. I'm trying to make my way. But anyways, hello and goodbye. Until next time. Oh, and if I happen to have some free time where you guys live streaming, I might stop by and say hello and get my point of view, right or wrong. I've been wrong before. I know. Iron sharpens iron, and I don't say those things to be mean or to disagree. It's just, anyways. Hopefully we help each other. If I happen to stumble, please pick me up. Don't kick me in the head when I'm down. and I try to do the same likewise. We need to help each other as we struggle through this thing called the human experience, as we try to grow and learn. And let's not throw Christianity with the bathwater. Let's not throw Christ out with the bathwater. There is such thing as the pseudo-Christian, the pseudo-Christ, pseudo-apostle metaphor, right? On and on it goes, kind of like, the book of Revelation for those that have been brave enough to study it, right? All those metaphors and all that stuff. But anyways, the introduction is the letters to the churches. Some of that stuff, I know it's, I know I'm starting to wander off, but some of those are metaphors, but some of those are instructions to the church. That's you and me, I think, if we are the church, right? The body of Christ. But anyways, hello, goodbye, and again, my opinion, I've been wrong before. Iron sharpens iron. All right, till next time. Maybe here, let me transition into the proper goodbye here by saying bye now. Right, till next time. If I happen to see you in the stream, hello. And I will try to get to your content later. As time goes by, I will get some free time, and I'm still trying to get through all you guys' content. Until next time.